Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there is not John. It is Britt. Britt
Hi.
from Freckles and Britt. How are you doing tonight, Britt?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic.
I'm not as pretty as John, but I'm willing to sit here until he gets back.
Well, I think I like your beard better. You have a much better beard than he does. You take better care of it, so that's
Most
important.
people haven't seen it, but
That's shame. Shame. John is working through some minor technical difficulties, and he'll be online in a moment. Not to worry about that. We haven't killed him over here yet, but we're considering it. We are considering it. We are doing our 100th episode. Our 100th episode. It feels
congrats.
like only yesterday we were doing our 99th episode, and oh look who it is. John, welcome to the
I'm
show.
back.
And there's our
Yeah.
resident millennial, John. John, how are you doing?
Fucking nightmare.
Have you met Britt? Britt's here.
I have. Hi, Brett.
Hi. Once or
I
twice.
should probably point towards the camera,
Yeah.
huh?
Well, no, if
Pretty
you just
amazing.
if you stay looking away from the camera, you'll be like the tech person. That's what you'll be the tech person.
Yeah, it's true.
But I was just saying, this is our 100th show episode, John. 100 mainstream episodes. I mean, we could count the other stuff, shooting the shit and all that we do, but it's not like the mainstream episodes.
Right. These are the only ones that we count as shows. So,
Right. So how are you feeling 100 episodes in?
um, well, besides the technical issues from tonight, yeah, we're pretty good. I mean, we still suck, but that's what it is. It is what it is.
Well, the title says it all, doesn't it?
Right, you're still nobody's.
Right. I never wanted to be somebody. As long as I can be a special nobody to somebody, I'm good. That's all that
Yeah.
really matters. We got a few folks showing up tonight to see Anna Voltis in there. Congrats, lads. Thanks, Anna Voltis. And of course, J. Edgar, with his complaining.
With this troll.
I love that he
Yeah.
complains. Why does John have no audio? I don't know. I
'Cause
can't hear
I think he's
John.
lying.
Do what?
I don't know. I think he's lying again.
Well, I don't know.
Let me see.
If they're hearing Britt, then they should be hearing you. You're both on the same audio. I don't know. But
Yeah, they can
anyway,
hear me.
Saints in the house as well. He says, "Good evening, bitches and bastards." I'll let you two choose who you feel you are.
I'm for sure a bitch. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take bastard every time.
So, Britt, you've how long have you been streaming? I know Freckles and Britt is relatively a newer thing for you, but you were doing other stuff before that, right?
Well, Freckles and Brit is new. I never really had like a podcast or anything before that. I had a vlog, but it was music and entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I've left that world apparently. I've strayed very far. Like,
Right. You had to fight the state, right? You got to fight the state.
yeah.
Got to fight the state. So, how long were you? How long did you do the vlog?
A couple years. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun. We got in. It was a lot more lucrative than Liberty Twitter, that's for sure. So you get invited to a lot more parties.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, I mean, did it? I'm assuming that it helped with being associated in a sense with the industry and around the people where you live, right? That helped a lot too with the popularity of it.
I mean, probably a little bit. I mean, it helps that my husband's in the industry and I lived in Los Angeles. I mean, I still live in Los Angeles, but all of that kind of made it a little easier. So, but as far as him helping me out, not really. The only thing that I guess he kind of helped me out with was I mean, obviously he gets invited to a lot of rap parties and movie premieres and things like that. So when I would write about those things, it was a help to have an invite. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah,
So.
I'm sure all those people hate me now, or would if they knew, you know, who I was. So
Can't dox me now.
they might.
Right. So, John, John, we're 100
Robert.
episodes. We're 100 episodes in. How many years have we been doing this now? Getting to 100
I
episodes?
think 2 years.
Is it only 2
I
years?
think 2 years.
God,
Yeah.
I believe it's. Wait, did we start it when I was in this house? Right. See, that's why I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's been closer to 3. But yeah, because I don't
No,
think we did
two,
it
two
out.
and a half.
Oh, we did a couple of episodes at your place early on. Some of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
audio
The
episodes.
audio only ones, the first couple, yeah, first like
Because
four or
those were just
five.
recorded. Most of that was just recorded, and even the first ones here at my place were as
Yeah,
well.
a couple of them were here, a couple of them were over there. Yeah. It was a real clusterfuck trying to set up everything every time we wanted to record.
Right,
And
right,
my little shitty Yeti Blue microphone, my first podcaster's microphone. you know.
right. Oh, there's
Mm.
Wyatt from Roundtable Decisions
Wyatt,
showing up. Hey,
Wyatt,
find out if let's find out if Wyatt and Ed are want to jump in here. I've got some great
yeah,
questions I
Wyatt
want
said
to
he
ask,
could.
and I
So
want to get I want to get a diverse, a
yeah,
variety of opinions on these things. I want to hear the
yeah, guys.
input.
Believe it or not, we do actually have a plan for an episode for tonight. We're just kind of vamping at the beginning to wait for people to get ready and they can join us. So that's all it is.
Those
We
that
do
are
have a
joining,
plan.
yeah, we've got some. I asked John a question the other day, and it was actually a really good question that
I
really
fucking hated it too.
right. Didn't you hate it? Didn't you
I
hate being
did.
put in that spot because it forced you to take things that you would normally say, oh hell no, and you actually
Right.
had to consider it and weigh the options, right?
Yeah.
All right. But that's what I was, I was planning on doing tonight. We were just wanting to get into some discussions because there's a lot of things going on right now. There is one thing we have to talk about, kind of. Why is Robert doing his Obama impression? Nice, I love it. Oh, that's right. He had a picture from back in the day with one of these on, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he?
One of those black and whites back when he was in lawyer school.
Mm.
Do they call it lawyer school? Is that what it's called now?
Yeah. Lawyer
Um,
school.
but anyway, so yeah, just want to ask these questions because especially with all the libertarians that do abound throughout the show and in the audience, it's
Yeah.
I want to hear what Britt has to say about that when I ask you as well.
Well,
I think
let's.
it'll be interesting.
You want to go ahead and ask you then, since you're teasing it so much?
No, no. I mean, well, like I said, I was going to see, if Wyatt is at least Wyatt is going to join us. I know you said something about him joining in. And
No, Wyatt said he can't right now.
oh, okay, I didn't
Roommate's
see
in the
that.
room.
Oh, roommate is in the room.
Yeah,
I
as
got
if we're asking him for never mind.
All right. Well, we could start with that. If we need to talk about the other thing that just happened, you wanted to talk about this, and I've got this
Yeah,
lovely picture here that I know you want me to show.
I do.
I'm not going to show the one that the other one that
You got to show the other one afterwards.
I can't. Now I got to
You
pull that
can.
one up. God,
Yeah.
you make life difficult for a guy who's just trying to get by. Just trying to
Mhm.
get by. But something happened today, something dreadful for libertarians out there.
Correct.
John, did you want to break the bad news
Yeah.
for those who don't know?
Yeah, Ron Paul. That happened today. Luckily, it's not permanent. No, Ron Paul had what I guess looked like a stroke during a live stream that he was doing earlier today, and it looks like he's doing well. I don't, Robert, do you have the picture up?
Yeah, I'm putting it up
All
right
right,
now.
yeah.
Or
So
at least I
yeah,
hope I
then
am. There he
just
is.
recently, the past few hours, he from his Twitter account tweeted out a picture of him, looking in good spirits and saying that he's fine and thanking everyone for their concern. So that's good. We almost lost Daddy Libertarian today.
Daddy
Yeah.
Libertarian. I love
Right.
that has just a. Huh. But this was the other one that you sent over, which I thought was quite funny and lovely. What was it?
That's right.
Right. That carries a lot of connotations right there.
He asked Death if he was being detained, and he was not, so he was free to go.
There we go. But yeah, so but and I of course I would never want to disparage anyone, but is Ron Paul for want of a better phrase, is he still a thing? I mean, you know, I mean, where's the Libertarian Party right now, and where does Ron Paul stand in all of that? And is he just days gone by?
I think Britt would be better at answering this question than I would, honestly.
Okay, well, first of all, no, Ron Paul is very much a thing. Ron Paul brought so many people to liberty. He is like the Jesus of the liberty movement. So don't ever disparage Ron Paul again. uh, uh, People are sad. People were really, really sad and really happy and had a lot of joy when he posted that picture. I mean,
yeah.
When I saw that video, I actually just retweeted, or not retweeted, I actually just said, like, I'm praying for Dr. Ron Paul, because I didn't want to retweet that live stream because it was upsetting to me. And like, I had tears in my eyes. I'll be honest. Ron Paul is somebody that I admire and I look up to and would like to emulate. I mean, he is one of the rare politicians that you look at and go, yeah, that guy moves the dial towards liberty and he continues to fight for that. So I think a lot of people share my feelings in that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that maybe feel like, okay, maybe he's Ron Paul, what has he done for me lately? But I didn't really see that a whole lot today.
Yeah.
There was only one person that I saw kind of said something, and I just thought, whatever with you, like, because almost everyone across the board in Liberty Twitter was pretty like tuned in to see what was going to happen to make sure he was okay.
Okay, so now you've made questions come to my mind. So first off, let me ask you this real quick: the Liberty movement, okay, is this anything? Is this different than just the Libertarian Party? Because I haven't heard.
Well, I mean, the libertarian movement's been going on since the Enlightenment, but Ron Paul kind of brought it into focus in the 70s. And I mean, most of it's libertarians, but no, I think that right now, today, without getting too much into it, there is a big gap between the official Libertarian Party platform and Nick Sarwarst and Ron Paul. Because if if I have to take sides with that douche or Ron Paul, I'm going to pick Ron Paul every time.
And
I do want to correct the record now that has been brought up. What happened to Ron Paul today is not the worst thing that has happened to Liberty Twitter today. That honor would go to Nick Sarwark opening his mouth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Ed. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. That's the tweet. That's it.
That's the tweet. Yeah.
Okay, so and then to go back and like I said, I don't want to. I would never disparage anyone. I don't want to disparage by asking questions about Ron Paul, but in effect, what is it that's kept him from actually becoming something greater with his movement while he was in Washington? Was it purely the establishment stomping that down,
For the most part,
or was it Americans weren't ready to hear it?
No, it's a combination of the establishment stomping it down and mainstream media telling you that the government runs everything in your life and you will just accept it and thank them for the pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Paul's been called every name in the book by everyone just for questioning anything. I mean, he was called anti-Semitic. He's been called not a real Christian. He's been called a leftist for not wanting to go to war. I mean, so many just ridiculous things that he's been just thrown at him. And I wouldn't even say, like, why hasn't his movement gone further? And like, it's hard for me to be unbiased about this. I'm very clear that
please don't be unbiased.
I'm very biased. I'm a fan. I believe in a lot of things he said, and I wouldn't even say so much like, oh, more people didn't get behind him. I would say his longevity is normal as it is in politics. It's also kind of rare that he continues with as much. I mean, he gets hate from everyone all the time. So not so much anymore. I think people now are outside of libertarianism are kind of like not really thinking about Ron Paul, but libertarians, we still look to him as like a marker of,
Mm-hmm.
what a libertarian kind of should be, or, emulate things that you would, if you were going to emulate anyone, because we don't emulate anyone, nor like herding cats. So but he's been pretty consistent always.
So then I would be correct in my assumption that the Libertarian Party is not really, it's not associated with Ron Paul in the right way. Like there's two different ideologies going on there.
I think
where
I'll
his is
say-
more true.
How about you go, Britt? Because if I go into this one here, I will just
I
start
know.
ranting for the entire episode.
Well,
You have a little bit more control than I do.
Well, I'm trying. Here's the thing. I'm trying to. I know that I'm trying to protect you a little bit, Ed, because I know. Right now,
Thank you.
I think that there is, as nicely as I can put it, an ideology which Ron Paul has espoused since the 70s, and an ideology that's going on in the Libertarian Party platform in
That's
big
what I wanted to find
LP that
Mhm.
are very different. There's a very different movement that is going on, and I'll be perfectly honest. I am not sure who I'm going to vote for anymore. I'm not sure that I can even support the Libertarian Party at this point. I'm disappointed and mildly disgusted.
Would it be safe to say the Libertarian Party is selling out?
Yes.
Good.
Mhm.
That's what, and that's what. So then is it possible to transition those people from where they're at now, listening to this new party line versus getting behind Ron Paul? Is there a way to get those people transitioned over?
I think probably, I want to say something really quick. The people that work and do the work every day in the Libertarian Party, these people are good people. These people have liberty-minded values. These people are, a lot of them I know, a lot of them I'm friends with, they're good people, and they have ideology that would align with what you would want for moving the dial towards liberty.
Right.
But we have a big problem with Nick Sarwark and that ilk. That is a huge like plank in the eye of the Liberty platform. I can't. I don't want to. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, I want to just go on with something else that you're going along with this, versus, where it's the people in the Liberty movement versus the candidates in the Liberty movement. I just had to put some ignorant lino in his fucking place yesterday from Texas. He's trying to run against Dan Crenshaw, and he took something that I tweeted 2 days ago and he tried to use it to attack me and score cheap political points. It's like, well, imagine this generational wealth transfer that's the CARES Act. I'm like, yeah, well, what'd you spend your CARES check on? Oh, I donated it to charity. Yeah, you're part of the problem, fuckstick. I sent mine back.
So
With a nasty letter attached to it.
Go ahead.
So is it possible to, in a nutshell, you can tell me who this other person you keep referencing is? Because it's not
Satan incarnate.
Okay, well, like, can you actually tell me something tangible?
Yeah, because Robert does not follow.
I don't follow the
Libertarian anything really. He doesn't
I don't follow
anything.
any of them because it's.
So he doesn't know, like the people that we're bitching about. He has no idea, who they are.
Well, because it's not the candidate, right, that you're talking about.
I'm actually going to be completely fair on this too. I don't really know who Nick Sarwark is, other than the fact that I see he's open his fucking mouth every few days.
He is the LP
stupid
chair.
dribble falls out.
Yeah, he's the chair of the party.
He's the LP chair, and
I was told that he was removed from that post.
He is almost, but
he didn't consent to
and
being
here's
removed.
the thing. What?
He didn't consent to being removed.
Yeah, I mean, literally today, and here's the thing. He is. It's like if anybody tweets about him or around him or anything, he responds to everything, and it's never good. It's never like a gotcha. Like, I'm just waiting for it today because I told him, dude, like my tweet was literally, dude, no one likes you. Take your ball and go home. Like after what he said about Ron Paul, I was just done. Like he didn't say it exactly about Ron Paul.
Right.
Do you want me to
but-
pull up what he said today?
Yeah, he made
Let me
a.
go and get that because
Yeah, go ahead and read the exact quote because I don't want to.
So as the Liberty Party chair, he is the voice of the Libertarian Party versus the candidate for president. Am I correct?
He's not the candidate. The candidate for president right now is Joe Jorgensen.
Right. Was
And
she?
the
I might have to bow out at this point.
Oh, I know.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. Darn it, Ed.
Let's just say I would have preferred like John Mons. I liked him a lot. Him and his bow tie. I like both of them. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about Joe. Is that
I'm also joking. I'm not going to bow out because I really want to hear this.
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad about Joe Jorgensen. I just don't agree with how she's running. But
yeah,
Larry Sharp was on my show a couple weeks ago, and Larry Sharp had ran for president. He also ran for governor of New York, of the state of New York, and under the Libertarian platform. And he has a really popular show. A lot of people like what he has to say. He's kind of a left libertarian, I would say. Mm-hmm. But he made the comment on my show before Joe was announced that the party needs less activists and more politician-like people. Yeah, and that is the one thing that I can say about Jo Jorgensen is that she is definitely a politician type person.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's what I'm.
Nice enough, Ed.
Oh,
that's what I'm. Worse. See, that's the vibe I'm getting from everything that I hear about the Libertarian Party. Is now it's becoming more politicized, which doesn't necessarily ring true from what I understand libertarianism to be. Yeah, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
So it's more about activism than it is about.
We need
right.
Okay, it's not
policy.
But it's like you have to kind of walk that line. You have to have somebody that's pragmatic, and I'm saying this as somebody that I feel should be candidate. I personally, I don't know that Jo Jorgensen is that person, but you need someone that's pragmatic enough that they can run for president and kind of engage people, not just an activist, not just a actually person, because I've always said libertarians are always the smartest people in the room, but they never shut their fucking mouths.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, it's like that Ingrid bastard from Texas that I got into it with it yesterday. And that was the point that I was going to make with, I mean, for people in the liberty movement, they are genuinely for liberty. They differ on where they are on the political spectrum, left to right. I'm probably a much more right libertarian than a lot of other people out there, but as far as the candidates go, a lot of the times it seems like the candidates, I mean, it's a catch-all place for people who couldn't make it in the Democrat or Republican Party for one reason or another. When I see some of these candidates, that's really what I think. And that stupid bastard from Texas is a Democrat that got rejected by the Democrat Party. I guarantee that's what he is.
Who was it? Can you say?
I will find out. I just got the Sarwark quote.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to read. And then there was another one that I wanted to bring up to the attention of the people as well. So the one that got everybody else so off edge on this one was 7 hours ago. Nicholas Sarwark, the graveyards are full of people who the world could not do without. Quote from Albert Hubbard. Almost immediately after Ron Paul had his stroke on camera.
Such a bag of dicks.
Okay, read that again. Say the quote again.
It is a quote from Albert Hubbard, and it reads, "The graveyards are full of people the world could not do without."
As in, like, that's full of good people.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
it was kind of a drag at people that were saying, like, oh, no, we can't lose Ron Paul. There was a lot of that today. Not 2020. We can't lose. 2020 can't take
basically saying he's not any more important than anybody else who's dead in a graveyard. Right.
All right. That, but also I think he was also maybe trying to be poignant, which
right.
It would be the first fucking time.
Not the best quote for poignancy. Not the best.
Or
one.
maybe wait until you actually find out if he's dead or not.
It was
Right.
just
Perhaps. I don't
Hey,
know.
hey,
So-
at least it wasn't Poe. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
Right.
That would have been so much worse.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
this dude
So
is
there
that.
was
Oh,
there
go
was
ahead.
another one here, and I actually want to see, Britt, if you could shine some light on this one here, because I wasn't sure what the event was he was referencing, but there was another one about 23 hours ago, so that would have been yesterday actually, where he pointed out, and he got a lot of flack for this one too. I went into him on this one. It says, pro tip, when someone you support makes an error, it's usually better to avoid drawing attention to that error.
Oh yeah, that
I
was
saw
such a
that.
bad. That's such a bad take. Like, I mean, obviously, if someone does something incorrect or says something that's incorrect, you should probably correct them. You can do it in a nice way, but
No, don't do it in a fucking nice way, because the people that
No,
are
it depends
actually
on what
against
we're
him aren't
talking
going to
about.
leave the fucking gloves on. It was like I
Right.
said, and it's just like that dude from Texas yesterday. And I'm going to cite him one more time off of this one here. He made a mistake. He thought that he could go with his taxation as theft thing, and the president has put the debt up so high, and oh my God, he's put the debt up so high, and he thought he could take something that I talked about with the CARES Act and score some cheap political points. And I took his ass to school. Because the progressives that he would be potentially debating in Congress, if he gets to Congress for whatever fucking reason, are not going to play nice with him.
See, now when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was that it might be applying to the public sphere.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's how I took it too.
That in the public sphere, you don't want to point out the thing that they did wrong. Now,
Well,
on a personal level, yeah, you definitely want to point it out, right?
Yeah.
You behind the scenes. But so I could see it could go either way, but I initially took it to mean that it was talking about in the public sphere, you don't want to do that.
yeah,
I got you there,
okay,
yeah.
so basically, I'm not sure exactly what this was about, because initially I thought Nick Sarwark was talking about Nick Sarwark. And
Oh, he does
and
that a
then
lot.
I thought, and then I thought, no, that can't be right, because literally no one looks up to him. So I think that what he was talking about was Joe Jorgensen, because something that she might have missaid or misconstrued, because it seems to be a theme with her. And I'll say this, as far as if that's who he was talking about, I kind of understand that, because Joe is getting hit really hard, and I have hit at Joe really hard. But I think a lot of the hate that she gets is unfounded. Like I think that it's like, I think when I look at it through a lens of she has to try and get votes, because we know that she's not going to be president. I understand that a lot of libertarians, they're so precious. I mean, like, I put a poll up today that said, I don't care who you're going to vote for, who do you think will win? And 4% of the people at the last time I looked put Joe Jorgensen, as if they thought she actually had a chance to win. What people need to realize, and I think what Joe is doing, and I hope this is what Joe is doing, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, is get that 15%, or at least get enough so that she can get into the debates. Because the truth of the matter is, if Joe Jorgensen could get on the debate stage, she could talk, and a lot of people would listen, and a lot of people would go, that makes sense.
So
Go ahead.
So while I agree that that's what she's trying to do, I think she's pandering to the wrong people. She's pandering to people that actually aren't just for liberty, but actually actively hate it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
100%.
so she's doing that at the expense of the people who might otherwise just give her a pity vote, or give her, the party vote. Just going to go with the Libertarian Party. She's doing it at the expense of people who will vote for her.
I 100% agree with you. I also know, I mean, Ed knows, I don't know if you guys ever watch his show or see any of my tweets. Like, I've gone hard at Joe Jorgensen. I am not a fan, but I'm also,
Fact check true.
Yeah.
I remember watching you hammered out of your fucking mind when the announcement was made.
Yeah. Well, I was, and I'm not tonight though.
Right.
I'm very, yeah, I'm not even stoned, guys. Like,
Well, that's a shame. You
Okay,
should
should
fix
I
that.
reiterate what
It's a
what you said
special-
on what I said on my roundtable?
it's a, yes, Ed.
Can we have Britt? Can you get off the camera and have Britt come in?
Hey, I didn't know how long these guys are going to let me stay. So, like,
Well, eventually we're gonna get to the meat of the show here in a minute. So, but I have this. So,
Yeah.
is it possible? Is it possible that a lot of the hate that she gets is from the fact that she was picked as the candidate? How many people are seeing it as an identity politics pick versus the right candidate?
a lot of people. And
Mhm.
here's why. I had Adam Kokesh on my show who, oh, Adam, what happened to you these last couple weeks? Adam, I love you, but, and I had voted for Adam Kokesh. I had Jacob Hornberger on my show who I really thought was probably going to be our candidate. And I had one other person, I can't remember, and I'm sorry, but I had a lot of, LP candidates before come on the show. Joe Jorgensen wasn't even on the radar. And the consensus was, or what kind of came out, is that during the debates, she did really well. She did so well that that's who everyone voted for. During, I think, the first round, I don't think she made it. The second round she did, and the third round, I think she ended up, that's how she became the candidate, which seems really strange to me because
Mhm.
I'll tell you this, I knew who Joe Jorgensen was before only because I was vetting all of the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you this, she had 2,000 followers the day before. The next morning, she had over 20,000, and I guarantee 90% of those people didn't even know she was a female. Like, and so it was really strange that just, how that happened so quickly, so fast. And I think people just, the whole thing seems extremely strange.
Well, and the website being scrubbed too the next day.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, Ed, so you said you saw the live stream.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I was doing a live stream with Freckled, Liberty Freckles, and Kay Fellows, I think, and someone else. Like there was a couple of us on, right?
Jessica was on that night.
Yeah, and Jessica Green. And we all went on to Joe's site immediately. In fact, we were talking about pro-life, like abortion, something I think was a topic, and we switched immediately and we screen shared Joe's website. It didn't have hardly anything. I mean, we literally on the live stream started to do a deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
and everything was scrubbed, and then the website had crashed, of course, because a lot of people probably were going, but then the website was just down, and then the next day it had a whole like expanded platform, and it was just, I mean, like the thing that's strange about that is that somebody that ends up being the candidate to not be prepared at all to come out of left field like that is very, very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even the ones that because I talked to a different set of candidates than you do. I think the only crossover that you and I had was Kokesh.
Yeah.
Because I talked to KWD and Soraya Foss, who I think falls back into that lino and couldn't get into the Democrat Party, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, well, Soraya was supposed to come on our show, and then Soraya was the one that I was DMing with her during the live stream, and she was telling me what was going on. So that's how we were actually, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that our live stream was what broke it publicly, because I accidentally said it when Soraya was DMing me before we were supposed to say anything.
Oh, wow.
So, so I can't be positive. If we did, I really probably should stop getting high before my shows, but
Well, that would be
never stop getting high before your shows.
So really silly.
So what if? Now here's the big what if. What if there is a deep dark plan? And the reason why she was picked is because Trump doesn't have any intention of keeping Pence around for the election. Trump actually wants a different VP. But if Jorgensen can't get enough of the vote what if he decides that he wants to back his play for the next 4 years with a libertarian as a vice president to go up against the woman that is on the other side running for president?
Hey, 4.6 million new votes isn't a bad, play.
Yeah.
I'm just tossing it out there. You said it's strange that she showed up as the candidate to a certain extent.
Hey,
I do think there was identity that went along with that, though, to be completely
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
given the fact that the next morning, hashtag I'm with her was trending on Twitter.
It
With
was.
a lot of
it was
very,
planned.
very
That was-
pissed off leftists.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
There was a lot
I
of
like
salt
that.
to be mined that day.
That
There was a
great.
lot.
I really actually that next day when I saw that, I was like, you know what? She's not that bad. I kind of like her.
Yeah, me too. I was like, all right, I take back some of the things I said about her. Some of them.
Yeah, I mean, that was really, really just spot on. I loved it. And people were so angry. And I think that's how she ended up getting a lot of people
Yeah.
after that, was when that came up. But it was also very strange that she was able to get it trending within a couple hours. Like, it's just, And then, of course, there's been rumors since day one that, like, Nick Sarwark's an FBI plant and, Joe Jorgensen was just part of the plan. So I kind of doubt, I really doubt.
All I can think is, what's the point to infiltrating the Libertarian
like,
Party?
What did we do?
So wait,
We
if
figured
that's
out their master plan. It's to leave
if that's what's going on, then I do have a question.
Right.
Are they both waiting then after election day to get into Fidel Castro's one-man escape song
Right.
with Elvis and JFK, who are both still alive?
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
All right. So, long story short, keep him in your thoughts. I think he's going to come through this okay. He looks like he's doing all right from the last picture we saw. So, keep going strong. He's got a lot of good years left in him if he plays it right. I mean, my next door neighbor's proof this coming year she's going to be celebrating her 100th birthday. I wouldn't drive with her. She drives like a bat out of hell. But
We love you, Dr. Ron Paul.
Yeah.
Like,
So the only person in the world that didn't come to Twitter through Ron Paul, or I'm not to Twitter, but Liberty rather, through Ron Paul.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely helped. The Revolution, his book, one of them, I guess. Yeah, helped out a lot.
Part of it, yeah. I mean, I would say Howard Zinn kind of brought me to Liberty, but that's a whole nother can of squirrels.
Jesus Christ, you three realize you sound like you're talking about a religion. I'm just saying.
I mean, are we not?
Anybody that knows Howard Zinn knows that, like, that is the gateway to Marxist religion. So it just drops some acid and you're like, socialism sounds good.
All right, so while I've got you in this libertarian frame of mind, I've got some questions here. There's one important one that I want to ask like I said earlier, that I asked John off mic a couple of days ago, and so I want to run it by you guys because I think it's kind of thought provoking to really see what a libertarian thinks about this. Okay, so we look at this year that we're having, all the chaos that's going on between the coronavirus, between all the protests / riots, all of the Black Lives Matter movement. We can keep on going back a little further to immigration, all the chaos that has been going on with immigration. So here's the question I ask. If you knew, and remember, if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was an absolute, that this would be over on the day that it said it would be over, there is no question in your mind. You know it will be over.
I have questions.
Listen.
Yeah.
If the government came forward and said we could have all of these issues solved very quickly and get us back on a normal track as a country ASAP, and all it requires is that you allow us to take a high level of statism, basically the boot.
I'm out.
That's what I said. Yeah.
For a short period of time, all of this gets fixed. All of the protests and riots are going to be gone. Go away. It won't be there anymore. None of the coronavirus stuff. People are going to go back to their normal lives. We can, if they came to you and said, we can do this in 90 days. Give us the boot for 90 days. We don't make any new laws that are going to stay in effect. Everything happens in a 90-day window, and we go back to normal. How much would you be willing to allow this state to happen to get us back to normal? Even pushing back to immigration. Start getting that solved very quickly.
Not even for a second.
You
Get
wouldn't
the fuck
allow
off my lawn.
You wouldn't allow any amount of statism to solve everything and get out of this crazy year immediately, before the end of the year even. Okay.
Nope, get the fuck off my lawn and leave me alone.
Britt, what say you?
Well, I would have to know when I got the brain injury before I would consider this being a good idea. But I mean,
the government never gives power back.
The government.
No. But remember what I said.
Hypothetical.
This is, and that's the absolute in this. What you're dealing with, the government as it stands with the level of power it has right now, in 90 days, it goes back to that same, they don't get any, they drop it all, and you know absolutely it will happen. It will
15 days to slow the spread, Robert.
Do what?
15 days to slow the spread.
No.
I don't trust the government enough to let them do that.
If I knew that for sure, it wouldn't be the government. It would be a fucking genie. Like, that is not a thing that's ever happened in the history of the government. You can give the government as much power as you want, but the only way to get it back is through shooting. Like, there's no.
Well, and see,
no.
Okay, listen, that's the thing. That's what makes this
hypothetical. It makes me sick to my stomach.
That's where this is. That's why I say, and John, that's how John started from this approach. But it's, again, understand the absolute, you don't have any, there's no doubt in your mind. I'm talking about being in a position that there's no doubt in your mind that things go back to exactly how they are now.
How are they going to fix it?
Well,
how are they going to fix it? Why does
they need total control, and they'll get it fixed.
No, because that's the same thing. That's the same thing they say that's exactly what they say with climate change. We can't control a virus, but if you give us more money and control, we can fix the temperature of the earth. No, they say
if you just give us 15 days of control, we'll stop the spread, and you'll be able to go right back to work.
I knew it was going back to it. I know that at that point, they would know that they could now do that whenever they wanted. So what if it went back? It wouldn't go back for long.
Well, again, they're asking your permission before doing it.
They were asking my permission. They're not the government.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
If they were asking my permission, I would be in charge.
Now, John, why did it give you pause that you actually considered it?
Because I considered the hypothetical of it's obviously magic that's making it happen. It's not government that's doing it; it's magic. And so when I was like that, I was like, okay.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That level of fucking magic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, if in the future anyone sees me tweet about going along with a government program like this at any point, please send help. It is a distress signal.
Right.
It is like the code that those battered women tell police when they pretend they're calling for pizza. That's what's going on. I'm being hostage.
See, with the right level of federal presence in cities, 90 days is not out of line to get all of that under control. Taking the power away from governors of states to initiate lockdowns and mask orders, for the administration to say no mask orders, no lockdowns, everyone go back to normal, businesses open up, do everything. Again, in 90 days, we can see forward progress from the coronavirus.
There would have to be a solution.
Sure. Stop the governors from being able to play with their states and let the federal government take over. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they could do it in 90 days. I use that as just a number, but still.
Yeah,
that's the question is, how much state would you be willing to have to get rid of 2020? For it to all go away.
None of it, because the state's what got us into this.
I will accept any risk to get the state out of my fucking life.
Yeah, but
I'm
you know
actually
that's
one of-
never going to happen.
I'm actually one of those people that believes that not our state, but China's is what got us into this. I'm like, I have no doubt in my mind that there's no like bat in a Wuhan wet market that caused
No,
this.
they've already said there's already been a scientist that was in the Wuhan lab that she's in hiding and has come out and
I was
said
gonna
she
say,
has.
has anybody seen that
she
chick lately?
No, well, it's been about 2 weeks. The
Hey,
last time she was on
okay.
a show, a week or two.
And I saw what she had posted. I read her paper. The problem for me is that like it was backed by what's his face, Steve Bannon's like company. Like that's who published this, which is like it's just really
Well,
like
she was on a she did an interview from her location, what her
yeah, I
location that
saw
she's
like
in, where
she
she
explaining.
verbally said that she had proof that it was created in the Wuhan
She
lab.
You
did.
bought that
She did
shit?
that on a
Well,
Thursday, and she did
I don't
that
know
on
if she's real or
she
not.
did it on the Two Loose Women show on a Thursday, and then Monday morning she actually published the paper that was supposed to be the
Gotcha.
evidence, but the paper was published by Steve Bannon's like uh, parent company. I forget what it's called. It's not like a Breitbart, but like uh, you can look it up, and it's basically like him who's behind that. So it gives me pause,
Right.
but also I'm not saying it can't be true. I'm just saying,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
I've always assumed that it was created in a lab. I didn't buy into
well, I
the
believe.
do what?
I agree with you.
Right.
I
And
agree with that.
But
here's the
I
thing.
don't know that it was intentional. I don't know that it intentionally
I
got
don't
out.
either. I don't know if it was or not, but the first reports about all this were not in a Wuhan lab. The first
Right.
reports that we read about this was that somebody accidentally got infected and didn't say anything, and they started spreading the virus. Somebody that worked at that lab. That was the first report. Then it said, oh, it came from a lab. Then all of a sudden, everything was scrubbed, and then it was this wet market. And then we weren't allowed to say anything about China because we were all racist if we mentioned China. Like, even though like it continues to happen in China, and if the wet market is the source that we're pretending to go with, then maybe pick one that doesn't make everyone look super freaking racist for pointing it out. Like,
Yeah. We'll never
Yeah,
know. We're never really gonna know.
Remember what was it? Hug a Chinese Day, because everyone was being so racist.
Everybody go
yeah.
down to
Years ago.
Chinatown.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
down
yeah,
to
if you
Chinatown, eat
yeah.
in restaurants. Yeah, and it's like, okay, I thought we weren't supposed to eat at restaurants like right now. I mean, I don't know.
You're not
No,
yeah.
that didn't come until
Oh, that was
after
before.
Nancy
Oh,
Pelosi
right.
said go to the Chinatown.
Right, and then
Yeah.
people did, I guess, and now this is where we're at because
Oh,
of Nancy
husband dogs.
Pelosi.
Well,
It was just a foot dog, so it's alright.
we're getting
Go in the garage, the other fridge is in there.
we're pretty much going to wide open state. I think at this point, didn't DeSantis, Ron DeSantis down here is just like, okay, no more anything, no more mask orders,
Yeah, so
no enforcement of mass fines or anything. Open
right, the
everything up.
fines. So the thing is with that is, if you got a fine and you haven't paid it yet, they can't come collect it. But if you already paid your fine, then sorry, you're fucked. You don't get a refund. So we're doing
That's
that
equal
now.
protection
So
under the law.
yeah, well, I mean, it's the government, no refunds.
Are we going to go
Like,
into talking about the governors now?
just DeSantis right now.
We were
okay.
we were talking about coronavirus. Somebody's
No, I'll
mentioned-
be right back then, because I got to smoke a bowl, because I've got some things to say about Gavin Newsom. I'll be right back though.
Okay, sounds good.
I don't know. Who's Gavin Newsom? I'm
So
sure he's
anyway,
somebody in California.
yeah, right. I think so.
He's the guy that said no more gas cars in California.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, so DeSantis is doing that. No collecting fines for, going against the mask order. And he's saying that cities can't tell businesses that they can't run right now. So like, everything is allowed to open up, and they can't dictate, I think, less than 50% capacity. So like the cities and stuff can't dictate that restaurants have less than 50% capacity.
Yeah, I don't like any of that.
Well, he's pretty much saying trying to get his business as
Saying
usual.
open. Yeah.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
that definitely should be a more local thing because the local politicians, including mayors, have a better idea of what's going to be best for their cities than the guy
Right.
that's sitting down in Tallahassee waxing his fucking carrot and hoping to collect tax money.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I don't mind so much the like you can't collect fines from something that is already unconstitutional. Like I don't mind him saying that at least.
I don't mind him doing it at the state level simply from the fact that, like here in this city, there's so many small suburb towns around it that you're bleeding in and out of them all the time. And,
Yeah.
to have these various ordinance going on within a 20-mile radius going through three different cities or counties, it's like, oh, come on. What am I supposed to be doing right now? What's good, bad, and ugly? Right?
Well, yeah, and I do understand that because I, for one, have no idea. I mean, have you guys self-doxed yourself enough that I can say the city name?
What,
Yeah,
Orlando?
they definitely know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely
Okay.
know we're in Orlando.
I was gonna say I when I was out there, I had no idea because I stayed in Longwood when I was there. When I transferred from Longwood to Orlando proper or whatever other misnamed,
Hmm.
and that's weird for me because I mean there's always defined countryside between cities in Wisconsin. So,
Not here.
No.
well, yeah, it's
Like,
an East Coast thing.
right, just being there in
Yeah.
Longwood, you can drive in just a 2-mile circle, and you can bounce from Longwood to Castleberry to Altamont to Longwood to Castleberry.
Sanford.
Yeah, I think
No,
that
it's
breakfast
Sanford
place
on
we
the
went
other
was in
side.
Altima, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
No, because we stayed closer to Oviedo.
which
When
is
we were
right there
here.
in and amongst the mishmash.
Yeah, that's another one of those. But it was Oviedo that we were around.
Yeah, so if you
So
had,
that's where it would have
it's
been.
better for one person to say, look, this is, let's just make this overarching for everybody because it gets very sticky when you start running into those.
In Florida, at least. I don't know about the
Yeah.
rest of the country, but yeah, Florida, at least you can, take 3 steps and you're in a different town technically. So like, yeah, it'd
That's
be
an
very
East Coast
difficult
thing.
to have to put the mask on through one county and then take 10 steps and you can take it off. Like it just, I don't know.
Um, but anyway, so hi Brett, welcome back. So
Right, so red.
so this Gavin Newsom person, is this somebody?
I heard you're a fan.
Never met him.
Um, I haven't either. I would be
Never
hard
heard of-
pressed to tell you exactly who he is, but I have a feeling he has something to do with politics in California.
Yeah.
Get your gas cars now.
Yeah, that's, oh my gosh.
Get
But
them.
dude,
Get 'em.
all of our cars have to be electric by 2035
No, you can still grandfather your old ones in.
until 2045.
Oh,
So yeah, so that's
Nice.
like the deal.
You can
But,
for 10 years.
Like he wants all electric cars, but we can't keep the lights on in the state. Like, okay.
oh yeah, I pointed that out this morning.
Yeah.
You have rolling blackouts in that state, and you still want to put more pressure on that grid.
Yeah.
Good job.
He literally will do anything to avoid any sort of responsibility for the fact that the state's on fire.
Well, he's a politician.
I
It's
mean,
just climate change.
a fact
clearly.
I don't even. It's just unfathomable. The whole state's on fire. Okay, well, we're not going to allow gasoline cars anymore because that's the issue. And then, I mean, there were people on my Twitter account today say libertarians that saying like, well, we need to do something about climate change. I'm like, what do you want to do? Why don't you know what we could do? You know what would be just as effective as collecting more taxes and making people not have gas anymore? Doing a rain dance in the middle of a fucking forest and asking the earth if it promises not to warm up anymore. If there's like if we continue this dance, if we sacrifice a virgin, will you not get any hotter? Like that, it's just as effective.
I was gonna say first you gotta find one in California.
Or we could just listen to any of the climate scientists that are saying that they might have been a little bit too alarmist in all of that, for the last
we only
30
have
years.
6 months, Robert. We have 6 months from now. We need to eat all the babies so that climate change will stop being real.
John, hold on.
Right?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. I turned 52 years old 2 days ago, and
Yes,
I
we
can't
know.
tell you the number of times the Earth was going to die
I know.
in
I
my
know.
lifetime. How many times we were expecting? Oh my God, here it comes! Oh, there's a Mayan calendar, the Aztec calendar. Oh, Y2K, it's going to destroy the world. It's this. That.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've been on a
Yeah.
path to hell and back for my entire life, and it's like, man, we keep dodging the bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that we all had to stop using aerosol cans in the 80s because in the 70s they told us the earth was cooling too fast.
Yeah.
Like it was like a whole
The
it was a
pendulum
whole
swung
thing.
too far
So
the other
why
way.
so and here's the thing, if the earth was cooling too fast and now it's heating up too fast, why don't we just go back to what we were doing before? Like, I mean, the solution can't be, oh, the
Yeah,
earth is
more
cooling too
aerosol
fast.
cans. Is...
Like
that's the solution. More aerosol cans.
Like the solution in the 70s was tax you more to make the earth not cool as fast. So the same solution for the earth heating up too fast is to tax you more? Are we
Yes.
are we paying the earth to not, like, where is that money going?
Because
the price keeps going up. Yeah.
Don't you understand? The tax dollars were to be used to patch the hole in the ozone. You take them up there with some wallpaper glue,
Some $1 bills. And...
I feel like-
but you know what? You know what? The hole in the ozone has been healing itself, so we're doing good. You know,
Yeah.
I have to ask questions like that of these climate
Maybe
alarmists.
though,
You know,
but here's the thing.
Robert,
Maybe
check the
those
box.
holes were ventilating holes and we need some more and we can let off this heat. It's fine. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk can go up there on a weekend with a sci-fi channel and get it done. Like, I don't need to be for that.
So you guys remember the picture that I circulated around where the guy was tweeting out that it was environmental terrorism, speaking of eat the babies?
Oh, yeah.
No, really? Eat the babies.
Here he goes. He's got it back on.
Start eating the
Let's see
babies.
this
We're
one.
overpopulated. He goes, 2 problems: overpopulation and world hunger, right there.
Uh-oh.
this better not be
What's
bad,
this?
Ed.
Did it pop up?
Yeah.
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 This is environmental terrorism.
What? Why? Because there's 8 of them.
Because there's like
There's
10.
10. One on the
10?
way.
Oh.
9 out there and 1 on the way.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had the chat was blocking the rest of them.
Huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's impressive. Good on
Yeah,
them.
somebody actually tweeted that picture out and said, "This is environmental terrorism."
And honestly, good on her for looking that good after 10 or
I
9
know,
children.
Well,
With one on
hell
the
yeah, I put 11 in there.
way.
Wow.
I
Wow.
forget to be the only girl on every show I go on.
See? And that wasn't me this time.
Never.
I was
That's not my
being
channel that's
polite.
getting thrown off the air for it.
It's true, yeah. Ours is disposable, I guess.
You know, yeah, people shouldn't be slammed for being productive. They're just, they're keeping busy. They've got
Creating farm hands is what he's doing.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this right now.
Like she's
The
so-
it's not the thought of having that many kids. The terrifying thought is taking care of all of them. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
By the time you get to the 10th one, the first one can start helping.
Right,
But
exactly.
still, I mean, it's just, come on. I mean, imagine just 10 freaking kids in the house.
Ugh. Yeah.
No,
I say one of my dad's friends had 13 brothers and sisters.
Yep, Sync gets it. He said, just remember, boys and girls, more hands is less work. Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless
When
their
I
hands are sticky like kids like to be, then it's more work.
When I was in my 20s, I lived in a little, like, 3-bedroom apartment, and the people next door lived in the same little 3-bedroom apartment, super tiny. They had 12 kids. And when I moved out,
God,
she was pregnant with her 13th kid. They brought that 12th kid home. Then they made the oldest daughter, who was like 19 or 20 at the time. They would not let her move out, would not let her leave, couldn't tweeze her eyebrows, couldn't go out. She took care of those kids all day long.
Am I being detained?
Huh?
She was being detained, yes.
I mean, I felt so bad for her. I mean, when they had that 12th baby, They were out on the front lawn, the like 6 and 4 year old or 6 and 5 year old, whatever, out on the lawn with a brand new baby. Like, fuck it, we have so many. If we lose one, let the kids play with one. It could be an outside baby. Whatever.
Could be an
The
outside,
outside
baby.
Okay, so honest opinion here. Who thinks that having that many children is irresponsible, and how many are like, yeah, it's no big
So
deal.
it's only irresponsible if you can't afford to take care of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I can accept that.
You can have 15 babies if you take care of them, but you like it's
Yeah.
the people that have the one and tell you how much they love them while grandma's raising them that are like the issue. And then two, and then three, and they're all have different grandmas, but whatever.
Oh yeah, there's that
I
too.
mean, if you're not taking care of them, it doesn't matter how many you have. But if you are, then I don't see a problem with it.
How many kids do you want to have, Brett?
Well, none, but I have to go ahead and keep them. So no, I don't know. I wanted. I have two. We kind of thought about having a third and maybe a fourth, but my oldest has type 1 diabetes, and we know that if you have type 1 diabetes, you have a higher chance of every sibling having it, so
Mm,
more than one person. And I don't want to do that to any other kids. So we're done.
fair enough.
John, how many kids do you want to have?
As many as I'm blessed with, I suppose. Whether
He's
that be
Irish. He's gonna have
0 to
20.
6. Yeah, you know, I was trying not to bring that up, but yeah, yeah, probably gonna end up having like 20.
Yeah, that's a little high, I would think.
Yeah, because we don't have the same
So is,
infant
one of our
mortality rate that we used to.
co-hostesses.
You know.
See, like,
Ed.
Ed, how many
I'm
kids
jealous, all right.
do you want to
Lots of
have?
DOT
Funny 'cause
tests.
it's true.
Ed, do you want to have kids one day?
I want to have 4, and the old lady wants to have 18.
I remember. I remember you saying that.
Wow. Okay. Enjoy that. Y'all enjoy that. Yeah.
You know what? I really enjoy my kids. So
I would. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I love kids. I loved it when I was taking care of my kids, that kind of thing. But after my last one was born, I was knocking on the doctor's door. I'm like, so how do we get this? Let's go ahead and do that little snippy thing, and let's just nip this in the bud, as it were. I'm done. My card's full. I'm like, I've got my nuclear family. It's just like,
Yeah.
because it was actually, we only planned on having one, but then I kid you not, here was the moment. I'm driving in the car. I've got my daughter in the back, and I look over, and the car next to me has a mother driving, and in the back are two kids, and they're interacting and they're playing together, and I'm like, all right, we got to have another one. All right, just one more. We just got to have one more, just because I didn't want to. I didn't want
Whoa,
to
that's
make.
weird.
I didn't want to have an
Isn't
only
that
child.
isn't that the plot to Cheaper by the Dozen?
Right. Except,
like, is that your story?
except I threw in a plot twist after the next one was born. I'm like, cheaper by the dose. But see, like everybody in the chat, man, they're all like people part of big families. Saint's aunt and uncle have 11 kids. Both Elephant Man's parents are one of 10. Saint's one of 6 kids. I'm just like, good.
I'm not getting Saints chat, by the way. I don't know why.
I mean, I grew up in a house with 4 kids, but
Yeah,
2.
you have to go to live chat for Saint.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
I
ever
did.
put it on top. I always put it live chat.
Okay, now it comes in.
Elephant Man says his grandmother had 10 kids and 22 miscarries. She was pregnant from the time she got married till she
Jesus.
had my father at 42. Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. I had multiple miscarriages before I got pregnant with my son. I don't wish that on anyone. It was the whole time I was pregnant with my son, I didn't have any attachment to him at all because I was just waiting to miscarry him. Like I didn't even find out if he was a boy or girl till like 32 weeks.
Oh, that's gruesome.
Yeah.
Now I'm sad.
Yeah, my ex.
I have him and I have my daughter.
Right.
They're amazing.
Right. My ex-wife and I had our first attempt was wound up being a miscarriage, and it really it's a sucker punch even for, I mean, surprisingly enough, it's, as the male in the, I was like, wow, this is hitting me a lot harder than I thought it would. And it was, it wasn't like terribly long into the pregnancy, but still far enough in, you were like, you were committed. You were like, this is happening. And then suddenly, wow.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Like as a woman, the first time I told everyone right away, and it almost feels like you're going to the bank to deposit like a fraudulent check or something, like when you have to untell people. It's
Right.
so, yeah. And then
Mhm.
with my daughter, at like 18 months, we decided we would have another baby, which, well, my husband decided he wanted another kid. He didn't want any, but then all of a sudden he was like, let's have one more, you
It
know?
sounds a lot like the story of why I have a sister.
And we were like, well, we'll just start trying and we'll see. I was expecting the same thing, and I got pregnant the very first time we tried. And like, he just looked right at me and was like, I got you pregnant. And I was like, shut up. And I walked out of the room. And then there it was, like, she was born 9 months later. So you never, it's like crazy, whatever,
Right.
how this stuff
It's
works.
it is a roller coaster through the whole process. I mean, from beginning to end, you just never know what's coming next.
Yeah.
It's, it's funny. Like I've talked to my stepdaughter, and I'm like, you don't truly understand how quickly 15 seconds can change everything, right? Like with a kid, when you have a kid, 15 seconds, everything just fucking chaos. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell just happened? And
Yeah.
and she's like, oh no,
So,
it's all good.
Well, and it's
so Robert,
Yeah,
we have some other questions too, don't we?
I do. I was getting ready
We
to.
got-
I was getting ready to
okay, yeah.
reach for one.
I was gonna say, because we got less than an hour left, so
Well, I
we
blame
definitely
Ed
want to make
for
sure we get to
this.
them.
I would
Yeah.
blame Ed for this stuff, but
That's fair. Just want to make sure we get to all our questions.
do you all our questions? You mean all the ones I thought up while you sat there and looked
They're
at me
our
stupid?
questions, comrade. Our questions.
Damn it, he always gets me.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, listen. I'm just saying, John living here. And by the way, if you haven't, if you can, by the way, John's GoFundMe link is still down there.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get rid of him. We're trying to find him a good home.
That's right. A loving home.
Adoptive
Yeah.
parents, something. At least a stake in the backyard with a rope attached to it would work.
Good enough.
But yeah, hit that GoFundMe link if you haven't already, and throw something John's way. The sooner the better is great. I'm tired of living with his commie red ass. He is rather communist. Just everyone understand that, no matter what he presents on here. Okay, so I do have a question. I'm going to throw a question at you, and we'll see how easy this is. This may be easier than I think. You have to choose one of these things to lose, right? One of these things goes away. You can either give up Supreme Court precedents. The Supreme Courts could still rule on things, but they don't set precedents by their rulings. Or executive orders.
Ooh, why the fuck do you have to make it difficult?
Well, I thought it would be
the last
better if it
question was
simple.
easy. Yeah.
You
Want to rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first?
Ed, if you want to go first, or you want somebody else to have to.
Go ahead, Ed. I mean, I already know, so it was a pretty easy.
Really?
Yeah, for me too, it was easy.
Yeah.
God, I want them both to go away so bad, along with the rest of the federal government.
Well, right. But I mean, only one of these two is going to go away. But you're guaranteed.
Executive order.
It's executive orders. Okay.
Yeah, through the same magic as
margin.
before, it's gone.
Now,
executive order, yeah.
Okay, so Britt, what do you say?
No, the Supreme Court. Because executive orders can be overturned literally like the next president. Like,
okay.
It can just be gone, but it takes a lot more with the Supreme Court. It just always, that seems to never go away. But executive orders can be, flipped like a whore and the next president comes along. So.
Okay, so.
My argument would be that the executive orders, while they can go away the next president, they're also effective immediately.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
pretty much really hard to challenge. Like they can be blocked by a judge later on, but that still takes time. There's a lot of damage that can be done between that signature and the judge stopping it.
That's what brought that back into, because that was a literal the slimmest margin you could think of between the two of those.
Yeah, no, I see that, but it can be stopped just as quickly the next time, and it can be blocked. Like I think there's a lot more outs with an executive order. That's, I think, where it kind of lies for me. Because one person can get, it's a lot easier to send one person to the gallows than like 8. So I'm just.
Hey, John.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Send him the link.
Hey, John.
I just said I'm working on it.
I got you. John, I still want to make sure you understand the executive order. Send him the link. No, anyway.
All right.
So now, Britt, in response to your answer, I would ask this. Giving up Supreme Court precedents would also mean that, for instance, if, like anything else, these rulings can be overturned. So without getting into a discussion about the topic itself, this is something, overturning Roe versus Wade, for instance, could swing the perspective on abortion in this country based off the fact that they have precedents. And that would be, so is that, you'd still be willing to give that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would, I think I also think what's going to affect my life more, but with a bad president that's making executive orders, it's going to be bad no matter what. So yeah, I think the Supreme Court does a lot more damage long term because it gives people more time to kind of accept things as just being, that's just the way it is.
I can see that.
We still talk about like Roe versus Wade in this country, which
Roe versus Wade is going to be going on in this country for the next 75 fucking years.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying.
Well, what's funny is everyone's talking about Roe versus Wade except for the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
like, they really haven't brought it up in forever. But every time
would they? They've already ruled on this. They're not gonna. That's the thing.
No, Kavanaugh was supposed to overturn it like by himself.
Overturn it.
Yeah, and then now the new justice is going to overturn it as well.
Amy Barrett, which Ed.
Yeah.
Ed, I didn't even get a gold star. That was my pick on your show.
I think there was a lot of our picks.
So we've got Saint.
She was the number 1, I'm pretty sure. Let's go back to the tape.
It's roll tape. Yeah.
So we've got Saint has joined us. Saint, can you hear us? Are you? Give us a hello. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm here. If you guys can hear me.
There we go. Yeah, I got you.
We got you.
On. So you apparently you have something to say. So feel free.
Well,
Which one would you lose?
Executive orders. Eliminate that power altogether. Right? One, it's the most unconstitutional fucking thing. It's a complete breach of presidential power. No president should have the power to legislate executively from their desk. No president should ever have that power. Supreme Court precedent at least has constitutional standing. The executive order does not. It has no constitutional standing whatsoever. That's why we created the 3-branch system in the first place. That's why our government is set up the way it is, so the president is not able to do that. So it should never have happened. We should never have allowed the president to even make the first president who made executive orders. He shouldn't have been allowed to.
Well, so then I guess that would be my question. Does anybody know how far back this goes and when that power was given to the president? I mean, because I didn't realize it was unconstitutional. I didn't realize it wasn't within his.
I don't know the history.
The first executive order was issued by Washington on June 8th, 1789.
Oh, so right out of the chute.
Right out of the gate. Yeah.
Right after the Constitution. Yeah.
It's a mistake to grant one person that kind of power.
Actually, that would be right before the Constitution, by the way, John.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
1791?
1791. I thought it was 89. Are you sure?
Constitution was 1791 was when it was ratified.
Yeah.
Oh, ratified. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Elephant Man says, I'm guessing he's saying that it happened during the Whiskey Tax Rebellion. Is that what I'm? Maybe
I've
that's
heard
what
of the
I'm
Whiskey
understanding.
Rebellion so many times on this show. It's so funny.
Right.
It's come up like a lot.
You know,
Over the past 100 episodes.
I think they were fighting about the wrong thing. Vodka. Should have been fighting about vodka.
No, do not tax the whiskey, man.
Oh,
I mean-
well, you want to be in a different country then.
Yeah,
You need a
I mean,
duty
but-
free.
but as
It's always been
but-
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, but like I'm saying is that it just, if I could get rid of one, like even going that far back, like the
Before-
president executively legislating, throwing out an executive order, every single founding father, all of them, should have stood up and told him to fuck off.
But
Should have
they
put their
did-
middle fingers right in his fucking face and told him to get fucked.
You should have
did it.
overthrown him right there.
In fact,
Like-
we actually hail an executive order in this country probably more than anything else than we do give Americans credit for, and the history of America. The Emancipation Proclamation was an executive order.
Oh, yeah.
So then that begs the question, you know, I mean, not all executive orders are, have negative results.
I mean, it did free one slave, but
right, but I mean, you know, throughout our history, executive orders haven't all been bad. I'm assuming some have had positive results, but the good doesn't outweigh the unconstitutionality of doing it in the first place. Am I correct?
Well, we have a
Well, I mean, it could be
we have a
legislated.
constitutional- Yeah, we have a constitutional process for a reason, though.
Right.
And the executive order destroys all of that. It's meaningless if we allow that kind of power to be used in the executive branch.
but we've been doing it since before we had a constitution.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where
true.
the problem lies. And I just feel like a Supreme Court that also legislates from the bench a lot
Mm.
is a lot more dangerous long
Oh
term.
yeah, no, we really ought to rein that in.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the president having so much power, but the president leaves every 4 to 8 years. The Supreme Court, I mean, they're there until they retire or die. I mean, you have to do a lot to not be there, and the power that they have, I would say, is probably greater than the president's power in a lot of cases.
I agree with that.
So I
Today,
think that,
yes, for sure.
well, I mean, yeah. So, sorry, I'm super high right now. I was like, I just realized how stoned I was.
Right? She is super
It's
high.
really
I can
fun.
see her cape billowing in the wind. She's super high.
That was her brain catching up. Like as soon as she took the hit, her brain was like, "That was way too much," and now her brain's finally catching up. She's like, "You
Finally
are
processed
way
it
too
all.
high."
Yeah, sorry about that. It's like,
We have Seawall has joined us. Seawall, I don't know if you know you're muted. No,
You're
you're
here.
new. So Seawall, do you welcome to the show? Do you have some an opinion on which one of these two things you would see go away?
Does Seawall have an opinion?
I know, right?
hi, Seawall.
It's like asking if fish swim.
Seawall, we can't hear you if you're
Seawall.
talking.
He is, his audio is really low though.
Oh, really? Because I can't hear him at all.
I don't
This
see.
should be better.
There
you
it
go.
is.
Sorry, Zoom is retarded and I don't use it regularly, so I blame
Sure.
Zoom.
Yes,
Blame Zoom,
it wasn't
yes.
an ID10T error, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually do have an opinion on this, and
No way.
mine is reasoned. I would say the courts are far worse than the executive action. Far worse. It's not even a contest because the executive action problems have only come up in more recent years. The courts, are you guys forgetting about separate but equal? The support of Jim Crow laws, the support of slavery, the support of God knows how many horrible things in history that was protected by precedent for generations. Basically, we need to kill precedent in this nation because judges are people too, and they can get shit wrong. I mean, for God's sakes, a lot
Except
of legal
RBG.
scholars.
See,
No,
Seawall agrees.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but one of the good ones, a lot of legal scholars actually agree that Roe versus Wade was wrongly decided and horribly argued.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's true. 100% true.
bad
Yeah.
case law.
Whereas, and the thing is, because the courts decided the legislator can't do anything unless they go for an amendment or they basically kick the justice off via impeachment. That's the check on the courts: impeachment and amendments, which are the two hardest things to do in this nation.
Yeah.
Whereas in executive action, if the Congress doesn't like it, they go, okay, we're overriding it. President vetoes it. Okay, it only needs 60 or 66 votes from the Senate.
2/3.
2/3.
Yeah.
Not that hard to kill. Not that hard to kill comparatively.
Yeah, I mean,
Then having to impeach.
Hey, research bot. When was the last time a Supreme Court justice was impeached?
1805.
When's the next time it's going to happen?
Never.
Exactly.
2021.
So precedent is what needs to happen.
We've only had
2021.
one Supreme Court justice that was impeached.
Yeah. There have been a couple of federal judges over the years, but it's been
Yeah.
decades since the last.
The squad is promising that Kavanaugh's going to get impeached, and
Yeah,
Gorsuch
because
is going to get impeached, and Barrett's going to get impeached, and
Look, I have to.
Barr, and
If I have to weigh in on this, I have to agree that I am more bothered by Supreme Court precedents than executive order in this country, mainly from the simple fact that having Supreme Court precedents removes the ability removes the necessity of state Supreme Courts to handle real cases that need their own judgment, and take it out of the hands of the Supreme Court with one overarching decision so that you can never bring something like that forward.
Yeah.
But make the state Supreme Courts do their job and do a little more work, as it would cause a rise in litigations versus constitutional right. But that's fine. Let it happen and let the states make the decisions, and the Supreme Court can handle stuff that goes up to the federal level.
well, the worst part of this whole thing is the fact that none of this was ever supposed to be happening in the first place. There is a reason that Supreme Court justices are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, and the House doesn't get one fucking word about it. There's a reason that that's the way that that's written up, because the federal government is not supposed to have any jurisdiction over your life other than interstate commerce. That's how it was supposed to be. All these stupid fucking federal laws that they keep coming out with that govern more and more your life were never supposed to happen. So the Supreme Court was only supposed to weigh in on suits that arose pertaining to interstate commerce.
Right. And
Therefore, the will of the people had no bearing on who was on the Supreme Court. And now we have Roe versus fucking Wade and gay marriage coming out of 9 unelected justices.
Well, not only that, but what was it? To go to the gay marriage one, they invented the constitutionality of that one straight up, because it is not mentioned anywhere.
I got news for you. I got bad news for you on that one. They invented Roe versus fucking Wade too.
Well,
with the Roe versus Wade decision, one of the things that came out of the decision, and this is my all-time favorite line from a Supreme Court justice decision, emanations from penumbras. Okay, that's my favorite fucking line out of that decision. That's the thing, is that they treat the Supreme Court with both of those decisions, they treated the Constitution as a living document, as something that spoke to you, as something that
it's
left
dead.
up to interpretation.
It is not left up to
It's a fucking
interpretation.
paper.
It's
an important piece of paper. I agree with that, and it's the framework of this country, and it is the law of the land. However, it's not a living document. All right, doesn't speak to you, doesn't tell you new things. All right, it's a piece of paper that was written how it was written.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court has become the avenue by which, because I understand that, there's a lot of precedents set by the Supreme Court, and there's a lot of regulation and legislation that we don't like in the government because it's just gotten too big. But a lot of this has been asked for by the people in some manner or other. And the Supreme Court seems to be the vehicle by which these things happen because
It's
of
the
the
vehicle by
large
which
amount
they
of
get
precedents it
legislation.
sets.
It's the vehicle by which they get legislation that they can't go home and campaign on.
or
That's
are
what it is.
or are unwilling to make the argument and take the time. Thing is, gay marriage likely through legislation would have happened 10 or 15 years from now if we let it take its natural course.
Or it could have just stayed down the state level like it were where it belongs.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't, it's not like it's always just the people. We remember in
Well,
2008,
Sure, it's not always just the people.
California actually voted against gay marriage. And
Yeah.
the courts went in and said, no, it's unconstitutional, which I'm not saying here nor there. I'm not making a judgment call on that. I'm just saying it wasn't the will of the people, even in
Right.
super liberal California. So
Well, right, and I'm not saying that everything, but people, this, our citizenry asks for regulation on a regular basis. I mean, even the far left, all the far left movement that's going right now is, they want speech policed, they want thought policed.
yeah,
They're asking for these regulations. It's just one more, a bunch of voices in the mix, but the
Well, they
Supreme
don't
Court
realize.
the Supreme Court has been a vehicle by which precedence has allowed these regulations to go in place.
yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think that's why there's people like me and Ed and other people like that in, libertarians, liberty-minded people that feel like, okay, someone has to start educating people from a young age. Like just in my personal life, I take educating children very seriously because I think that a lot of what is going on in this country is a learned helplessness, a learned uh, dependence on government and on having, having the king decide whose baby this belongs to, like where that sort of scenario where we can't solve our own problems and we need a big overarching government
Sure.
to solve them all for us. So that's a learned thing. And I think that that's a societal problem that we need to change on. It has to be on an individual basis. You have to just raise children not to believe that.
Well, there's another method, but it's a touch more brutal, and that's turn off all the safeties. Basically, I call it the crash landing method.
I'm fine with that too.
Basically, right now we're in a plane and we're heading straight towards a mountain. At some point, we're going to hit that mountain. But there's, a not so nice field beneath us. We can force the plane down now and do a nasty belly landing and probably make it. But it's going to be nasty, and we're going to be doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
And a lot of people won't make it, unfortunately, just because once you turn off those safeties.
Yeah. See, I don't love the dark side possibilities. I mean, yeah, it would definitely be a thing, but it's God. I still, I still struggle with this hope that we can find some way to fix these things if we just can figure out the right way to do it. And
There's no easy fix. The most comfortable fix is going to take probably 60 years to implement.
Well, see,
okay.
and that's the thing is that you say that there's no easy fix, and there is easy fixes. Okay, just because they're easy doesn't mean they happen quick. So that's what the part that people are uncomfortable with is that the fixes that we need to implement are super easy, but they're going to take a long time to take effect and for them to be effective. And nobody wants to wait around.
Give me my free stuff.
Right, because and because John and I were talking about this off mic earlier today, because the system is the system that we have in place, the way it should operate, allows a certain amount of time for things to happen, for laws to go into place, for a process to be walked through, so that the population becomes accustomed to these new things or things that are going to change, et cetera, or get used to the idea that this is happening, whatever the case may be. But we're such an instant gratification society now that when we want something from the government, we want it now. It needs to happen now, which I think kind of goes to the executive order thing. It's like, oh, well, people are demanding it now, sign an executive order and let's get something going. The stimulus package was a very knee-jerk reaction to the coronavirus in that sense as well, in my opinion. Right?
Well, the executive actions in regards to the coronavirus probably made it worse in some areas. Other areas, no effect. Other areas, maybe it did a bit better, but it's hard to say. I mean,
well, my problem with the stimulus, I mean, just as a side tangent, the problem with the stimulus was it was just piling, more government spending on top of a already busted up economy.
Right.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
the state governments already fucked the U.S. economy by locking down their states, and then we piled more U.S. debt on top of that. So it was just piling bad on bad.
And going along with that too, I mean, that was kind of where I got into it with that that guy from Texas. It was Elliot Shearman, by the way, was the name of the guy. Britt, I know you were asking about that earlier, and I looked that up. But that's exactly where it is, And I tweeted out the tweet that the guy took for me was I had tweeted out 2 days prior to that, so that was probably on Monday. I tweeted it out that oh well, there's a guy that's unironically complaining about the fact that Trump added, what was it, $7 trillion to the national debt. Hey, how's that fucking CARES Act feel right about now?
Yeah, I mean, it is what the debt. I don't know. I've given up hope that the debt is ever going to get any better. I mean, not that I wanted it to get worse, but I'm just saying it's, I'm on this inevitability track as it stands right now with just, I see where the roller coaster's going, and all it does is result in screams, and it's
Well,
a scary thought.
Well, at this point, it's just like it, and this is the inevitability thing. Like this is
Ron Helton.
Facing reality is the world economy, like everyone is propped, or that foundation is propped up on toothpicks, and eventually they're going to snap, and it's not going to be fun for people, and people are going to look back and like, well, we made a lot of fucking mistakes. I asked for things that I definitely shouldn't have, so it's
Leave it to
part of that
millennials to come to that conclusion.
But all we have to do is rewrite the history of it, and we're fine. So it's okay.
Well, the thing is, it kind of go into a bit of a tangent. When that bubble pops, not if, certain nations that people think is as crazy powerful will disappear overnight. I contend that China collapses basically China taps out before the U.S. does, because they're even more on toothpicks than the U.S. They're an export economy. Their entire business model basically is selling to the West. And if the West suddenly goes, oh, fuck, and then it suddenly is lost control, its economics go down, it can theoretically recover because we don't rely on selling stuff to other people to survive.
And the Huns are waiting for that to happen. They will have their moment finally.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just, to go off the side tangent, it's not just that they're an export economy. They're an export economy based off the theft of intellectual property from other nations. That's why their economy would fail in that situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what was it? Last time I checked, China couldn't figure out aircraft carrier.
Anyway.
Not best aircraft carrier.
Anyway.
Didn't the one they built sink?
Anyway, so, Robert, I assume you have more questions other than this.
Oh yeah. I'm. I could ask something else. Something Ed said earlier kind of touched on it. So I thought I would. This was one that I was curious about, because I often talk about finding a way to fix term limits, and we could lump the Supreme Court in on this question. But here's a question: would you be willing to give up have term limits instituted in Congress, but every state has static numbers of representatives, like whether it be 2 or 3 from a state. So it wouldn't be based off of, basically the electoral college framework that it is now, representative by population. It would just be static. But
isn't that the Senate?
there would be term limits instituted in Congress. So there's no more, this lifelong Congress bullshit going on.
Well, I'm against term limits to begin with, but I'm really confused by the static number of representatives thing. I've always been against term limits.
You're talking about the Electoral College, right?
Do what? Well, that also feeds into the Electoral College. Would you be willing to give up the Electoral College for instead in the, something like a presidential vote, having a 2/3 state vote for president? The president has to get 2/3 states vote, which would change the dynamics of the election process.
Based on current demographics of the U.S., that means we'd become a one-party state. Democrats would have no power. Republicans would be an overwhelming force. and they basically would win because based on the current Senate map, and representatives map, the only states that would have power would be the lower population rural states because they're far more numerous.
Well,
Whereas where there's a reason why the founders created the system they did, and one of the things that we fucked it up with was the 19th Amendment that swapped how we voted for senators.
No, that was women's
The
voting.
19th? Yeah.
You're thinking of the 17th.
17th, sorry. They're both under Wilson, one of the worst presidents we've ever had.
Second.
Second worst. Sorry.
No, I second that.
Oh, second, yeah. Yeah. Basically, on any given day, it's between him and FDR for me, and Obama's third. He's just third in my eyes. But what was it? Basically, Wilson fucked up a lot of shit. And one of the things he fucked up was the Senate. The only good thing out of the 17th was the people's ability to recall. If they left it purely at that, it would have been fine. Because there was an issue where certain people with political connections were becoming senators because they knew enough state senators. So the only thing I would keep from the 17th would be the recall, so that people can go, "Hey, state senate, we don't like your pick." And I think as a safeguard, because the thing is, Jagger, you may not like term limits, but I believe they're necessary because power corrupts. And the only option is to make sure someone cannot hold power for long, to limit the corrupting.
When I look at term limits, I just think of that as lowering the price of your congressman so that Soros or Koch or whoever the hell else they want to boogeyman out there doesn't have to shell out that much money for a congressperson each time they want to change it.
Yeah, that's a fair argument, I think.
That's a fair argument. The problem is, look at how they are now. Look at the corruption that is Pelosi.
See, I like the idea of rotating these people out, but I don't want to do it on an artificial term limit. I would rather loosen the restrictions, and that may go into the FBI along with that, but I would rather loosen the restrictions so that people could get primaried. I would love to see primaries for representatives that number in the same kind of numbers as we saw in the last two presidential elections. Because the good ideas float to the top and the shitty ideas sink to the bottom.
Well, I mean, other methods that we could use to limit the effect of Congress getting bought out would be, one thing would be, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but the only money you can use for your election has to come from your constituency. A hard lock on that. You cannot get money, nor can you get any sort of objective support. Basically, if a television studio somewhere based out of New York starts running ads for free for someone running for Congress in Montana, that gets shut down right now. No, you can't broadcast that. Shut up, go away. Unless they paid you money to do it, and it's at a fair market rate, you can't broadcast it, period. And the only money they can get is from their constituencies. I still say
go with anonymous candidacies. I think
well, the problem with anonymous candidacies is, how do you verify that person isn't lying about who they are?
Well, that can be done behind the scenes. They'll know behind the scenes.
Plus, they're already lying about who they are.
I don't know,
But if you go anonymous, for all you know, you're electing a person that would advocate for some really fucked up shit. They're just not admitting it. Whereas with non-anonymous, we have the ability to look into their past at least. We have that ability. We have the ability to find it.
Well, your parties would still be looking into their past. I mean, you've got the RNC, you've got the DNC behind the scenes doing that.
How often do the RNC and DNC try to bury that stuff?
It's the same amount, whether it's anonymous or in your face. All that shit happens anyway.
Yeah. And it doesn't. And as far as anonymous, I mean, just because you know a candidate's background doesn't mean they're not going to get voted in. I mean, AOC is a perfect example of that.
Oh, right.
Nobody in their right mind should have voted a fucking 20-something-year-old bartender into an elected office.
Yeah.
No one should have done that. Everybody knew that going into it, and they still fucking voted her in.
Well, why do you think I'm an advocate of the poll tax? If your vote costs you something, you're going to be a lot more careful with it.
So, Ed, I have a question for you.
What's up?
A side question. So, you're against term limits, but you're okay with term limits for the president. Is that correct?
That to me is a necessary evil. Unfortunately, I don't like it either, but the people have spoken on that one. The problem that I have with term limits, like I say, is I would rather somebody more qualified come in and try and forcefully oust the person. Well, not forcefully, but like actually have the ideas oust the person instead of
Electorally ousted.
Yeah, yep, exactly. I would rather have that, and that's why I said make the process easier to get somebody up and primary that person, or even run against them. There are seats that are challenged, even down ballot. There are seats left and right that are going unchallenged. People not getting primaried. Crowley, when had he been primaried before AOC came in?
Yeah.
Had he ever? Or was it just a necessary evil? There's a representative in the district I grew up in that has been sitting there since I was in middle school. I know because I know the property owner in the city that I went to high school in, and every year since I was in middle school, he's had that same plywood sign up for the same representative. Nobody challenges the guy ever.
Well, see that. So, it always it brings a question to mind. So, how many years is too many years to serve in a seat and consolidate power?
Too.
Because
When a
that
person
is
becomes when a person becomes an institution.
right. But I mean, we have those sitting in Congress, all over the place, and it's like, how long is too long, though, Ed? From a power standpoint, from a consolidating power. I mean, somebody sits in a seat for 15, 20 years. Is that not a bad thing? Like, in the long run?
It is a bad thing, but once again, because the reason I think a lot of these people go on challenges, there are too many people in their district that say, I could never run. I could never do this. Look at Kim Klacik.
Mhm.
That is somebody who is going to get raked over the coals, not even just from Maryland, but from everywhere in the country. That woman is going to get raked over there. We are going to find out things about Kimberly Klacik that you never thought that you were going to find out about a
Who?
representative.
Who?
Kimberly Klacik.
I-
The woman who's running the GOP for Baltimore, Maryland's 7th district.
What about you, Britt? Do you like term limits? Are you a fan of them? Do you care when it comes to Congress?
I'm not a fan of. I like term limits, but if I had to like pick either way, I always want to keep the electoral college. That's just where I'm at. The devil I know, I guess, which isn't even true. I just agree that that's the best system if you're going to vote in this country. So
The best way to run a shitty system.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
Well,
it's the best patch.
I mean, there's also some improvements we could do to the Electoral College that would help things, in my opinion. One would be basically mandate mains system nationwide, where basically whoever wins the popular vote in the entire state gets the 2 senator represented electors. Whoever gets the popular vote there, but each individual congressional district, whichever way it goes, that's where their elector goes. It would
be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it would make states that have not been competitive again. It would require that would require candidates to actually have broad appeal. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing the hot button. What's the term for them? I'm forgetting the term. The left does it with racial issues every time. The right used to do it with religious issues.
Oh, the virtue signaling?
No, not virtue signaling. There was another term for it.
Like
something
a
issues.
faithless elector? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not faithless elector. No, I'm talking about it's a term, a something issue.
Hot
basically,
button issue?
Not hot button's a similar term, but basically, I can't remember, the rough definition is basically it's an issue that energizes the base more specifically. Like the left does it with racial issues, sex issues every time. Can't remember the term for it.
About wedge
issues. Yeah. Basically,
that's hard for me to get out. I don't know why.
Yeah, wedge issues. I completely forgot the term. But basically, my system would make it so that Democrats can't just comfortably say, oh, we're going to get all the votes. California going to go, oh, no, we actually have to go to the rural districts and campaign and listen to what these people want.
Well, one of the things that goes along with that too is that's by the Constitution. That's not something you can implement federally. You would have to convince
via an
each of your
amendment.
states to do it.
Yeah, via amendment. It's the only way to do it.
No, not via amendment, because you would actually have to, if you were to go to that direction and do it via amendment, you would be treading into some very, very dangerous territory that ends in popular vote winner winning the presidency every time. Because you'd be messing with that institution of I believe it's Article 2, Section 1. You would be messing around with that part of the institution, and you're treading in some dangerous territory. It's just, it's like I say with voter ID.
Yeah.
If you want it nationwide, then people in each individual state have to go to their state houses and convince them to do that.
Right.
We have it in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And it's a glorious thing. Yeah. And Tony Evers, in his bony skeleton fucking ass, is trying to do everything that he can to get it overturned. Because he is actually a little bit scared right now. Because he couldn't get the legislature. He couldn't get that turned around so he can have just carte blanche everywhere else. And he might lose power. Because he has been extremely unpopular through the coronavirus thing. And the teachers union is not having it.
Yeah. Look, I'm just trying to propose a possible patch to the system. It would have to be debated. The problem, the reason why I would say we might have to do it federally is because there is that interstate compact thing, which is literally making some states' voters worthless, and it actually might be arguable that it is disenfranchising the people of the state.
Oh yeah, I don't see that one passing the Supreme Court if it gets sued that way.
Yeah, they're going to claim, look, why does a vote in California decide the electors in Michigan or whatever states have signed up to it? Because the thing is, that's going to get challenged, it's going to get slapped down. And the thing is, would you rather courts decide this, or would you rather we do this via an amendment so the courts can't fuck with this? Those are your two options here. We do not have time for the other options. The compact is moving into a couple of states, a couple of not blue states. It's mainly in blue states right now, but it could go into, It could go into it's starting to make its way in purple states, and even a few red states are talking about it quietly behind closed doors. So basically the only option we might have is we might have to say, you know what? The states cannot be trusted to decide who their electors go to. We need to chain them in iron and tell them, no, this is how you do it going forward, period. Also having a national standard for voter ID and for how votes are counted is probably a good idea, because you've seen how how they've been fucking around with it state to state, and it's going to cause hell with this next election.
Mm-hmm. See, I agree with Ron Helton in the chat there. There is no patch for this current system. Dissolve it and go our own ways. Yeah.
I'm fine with that too.
I'm totally down with that.
Well, yeah, we can go our own ways, but the problem is we're going to get taken over by unified outside elements. It's the problem that anarchy has. It cannot survive an outside threat. The United States.
I agree with you on that. It's the reason why I say minarchy as opposed to anarchy.
Yeah. I mean, anarchy is an ideal, but pragmatically,
more
pragmatic.
If you want to, let's say we patch things enough so that we don't fall apart and the world goes with us. Let's say we patch things to a nice and cool, and we're not killing each other like back in the 90s when things were kind of calm for once. But let's say we can kind of calm things down, get to okayly working system. It's not perfect, but it's what we've got. If we can kind of get to the point where, space travel and Star Trek level shit where we're flying around the universe, at that point, Hoppian ancapism is going to kind of take over in the space between planets, because there's no way to release that.
We'll have reached a utopia by then.
Probably not.
We'll have a one-world
probably not.
Government.
No.
Will be happy.
No, we'll probably be divided. We'll probably still be divided unless there is a massive outside threat that unifies us.
Nobody wants a space war. God.
I love that Seawald will never break for like a joke or like just
Right.
like
That's
no,
what I do.
no,
That's what I
like,
do. No.
That's the autism.
I am on the
don't
I am on this
like
train and I am taking it to the station. You are not stopping me.
like we're just saying if it was kind of like the Orville, it might be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me. Is there anybody here that would be adamantly opposed to going back to letting Congress appoint the president like it was initially intended to do?
No,
So,
that was a very short-lived idea that
Or a
died
reason.
very quickly.
I would be fine with that if the president had like zero power
Yeah.
and could
If he's
not
supposed to.
gain any more through whatever commie
Yeah.
magic we were talking about for the other
Yeah.
hypothetical stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that'd
would
be,
that
like, really
would
well in the way.
would
Well,
that
at that
not
point,
put
we're a parliamentary system.
would that not put a lot more focus on solving the term limits issue if representatives were, if it
No.
was up to them, if you knew that your representatives were going to be
No,
picking
you
the
would it
president?
would still be well, okay, it's basically what's happened in a lot of Europe. People vote for their team. And it also means that even fewer people have a hand in the presidency because who decides the prime minister of Britain? Is it all the people of Britain? No, it is only a small group of people within within whichever political party has power. That is who has power in the UK.
Yeah.
So you're actually so if you want to be a more elitist, if at that point just say fuck it, let's declare a king and call it a day. At that point, just give up all belief in power of the people.
We'll just finally have God Emperor Trump.
Yeah, pretty much.
The benevolent monarchy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The solution to this problem is look, I could be convinced to go away from the idea of basically instead of the states, all of their electors are one block that goes the popular vote of the state, which is the current one, where instead it's the popular vote of each congressional district, and then whatever way the state goes overall, just is for the senators.
Right.
That would be I could be convinced to go to the lumps system or that one. I'm not, I will defend this hill, but I will not die on this hill. Yeah. But there are other things I would have. One of the things that would get people to care more about the local level stuff.
Don't I know where this is going?
Yeah.
Nope.
No, I'm not going the poll tax route. We're not talking that. I'm going down specifically have the state senates elect the senators and just give people that veto power, and that's it. And then people would have to care about their state senate elections if they want any real control in the Senate. Take the Senate back to what the founders originally thought, which was a calm and collected professional body. Whereas the House was meant to be the rowdy, crazy, direct will of the people.
Yeah, we're not in control anymore.
Yeah, there are reasons why the House has rules for how long you can speak and the Senate doesn't, because the senators were expected to be of a higher caliber.
Yeah.
Haha, joke's on us.
Right.
Well, we swapped it with the 17th Amendment. That's the problem. We swapped it with the 17th.
Well,
Yeah.
I keep running into these futility walls. It's just like any effort we make is just going to be a futile effort. I mean, it's.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what
I
it seems like, at least.
I think I honestly believe it's going to come to the point of the boot is going to descend very heavily at some point in the future, and that's going to be where
Well,
change or die, right? It's like
well,
we got to we got to fix it.
The trick with that one is not being under the boot, but being the one wearing the boot.
Oh, God.
There you go.
I'd
There's
rather not wear the boot.
right. It's like
I'd rather
who gets
not wear
the boot?
no thanks.
Whoever holds the boot,
Well,
right? Is
well,
the one who speaks.
Well, what was it?
Problem with boots is there's always a pair of them.
There it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, yeah.
all right, we're gonna. I think we could probably conceivably wrap this up, and it'll give people a moment to. There's a couple of people on here that could probably plug some things if they wanted to.
John, what are you plugging?
Britt, you got anything going on? You've got a fancy show or something, don't you?
Oh, I do have a fancy show. I have stuff going on this week too. Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Tweets by Brit, and you can never find me on Parlor at Parlors by Brit. Do better, Parlor. I am one half of the Freckles and Brit show, and this week we are live streaming the presidential debates coming up. The next one, the 27th, Tuesday. Yeah. Okay.
Assuming they happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, assuming Joe Biden's not COVIDed, it will be me, Freckled Liberty, Stephen Ignoramus, and Liberty Lock Pod. So we are booked. A lot of people have asked us if they could be on, and we decided since we're not sure how to get the live stream up, we would only have 4 because I'm tech support, and we all know how good I am after one.
Do you mind chat harassment from the peanut gallery?
I always want chat harassment. So we might have a couple surprise guests, but I don't know. We'll see.
She's a masochist. All right. Ed, you real quick, Britt, what night was that again? The 27th, you said?
It's gonna be Tuesday the 27th. Not the 27th. Yeah, Tuesday the 27th, I think. No,
because Sunday is the
29th, right?
the 29th. I'm sorry.
29th,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Nobody trusts anything I say. I'm on. Yeah, it'll be on a Tuesday.
Fake news. All right. Ed, do you have anything going on that we should?
I got a few things going on that I generally do as well. I, of course, am Jay Edgar, the Director of Operations for FreedomScoop.com that hosts 4 of the people that are up on the screen currently. And I am the host of Contemporary with Jay Edgar, weekday mornings at 7:30. And I am also one half of a program. I am one half of the Red and Ed Show, Monday nights at 5:30. I will be having a guest co-host this week because my regular co-host is traveling, but come and hang out with us anyway and check everything else out that we have going on. And I don't think I have anything for the debate, so we'll figure that out.
A Marxist.
Sorry. Sound like you got some COVID over there.
Is that the COVID
Oh,
cough?
yeah, man.
Are you wearing a mask?
No, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's got the commie coof. He's got the commie
No,
coof.
man.
So,
No, man. It's all good. It's all good.
So, Saint, have you got anything going on of importance to anything?
Anything to
Keeping our
plug?
economy moving.
There you go.
Right. Keep on trucking, as it were. What about you, Sewell? You got anything? You working on your half track?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
Sweet. I always like it like that.
In actuality, I'll be on the server. If you guys want to hang out in the half track, I guess you can pop in. I'll leave a hatch open for you.
It's so nice when you do that. All right. So just a reminder for anybody who needs the reminder, look down there in the description. The very first link is a link to John's GoFundMe. John is staying here with me. The smell. It's the smell.
Okay, Agent Smith.
But anyway, help him get the hell out of here. He really wants to go. He can't stand being around me either.
It's true.
Because of the smell.
He can room with me. He just has to move to Texas.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I mean, obviously, be better than being completely homeless. But yeah,
right.
I'd put you up too if you needed the place that bad, and I could find you a job tomorrow.
Well, it just depends on if we reach it. It depends on if we have to throw him out. I mean, you never know. It could get to that point. But you people, Freedom Scoop people, don't forget the love. Throw his link out there. Throw it out to your people. Like I said, all we need is 1,000 people to donate $2 each.
Well, Rob, there are the safe harbor laws. Just put them in a basket in front of a church or a church hospital or fire station.
Actually,
they'll take him.
No questions asked.
We called the fire department and asked about that very thing, and they said he has to be clean shaven. And
that's not happening. Yeah, that's not happening.
So it was
unless, of course, we reach the GoFundMe goal. Then that will happen.
Britt can tell you as it is with kids. You got to pick your battles. I mean, so we didn't know if we wanted to try and fight that beard off of him, and just drop him off.
You would never see me fight so hard.
Because I would hate the thought
Well-
of having a
well,
fire
you're-
here and they're
well-
like, no, we're not responding. You left that shit on our doorstep. You could have had the decency to put it in a brown paper sack at least.
Something, light it on fire, you know.
Oh,
There is this chemical called ether that might help.
I do have some
Oh, Jesus.
formaldehyde that's also going to be useful.
Ooh,
Jesus.
Uh,
You guys
you
are
look darker than me.
mean.
I was just saying knock him out and do it when he's asleep.
we all have our things. I'm just, All right. So that being said, a lot of love to all the people that have been in the chat. A lot of chat going on, talking about presidents and things and fun stuff. And but appreciate you, Saint and Seawall, dropping in and giving your opinion. Then of course Brett and Ed showing up, giving that Freedom Scoop troop support. Gotta love it. For our 100th episode. God, we've come so far, John.
We've
Thank
made
God.
at least 4 friends
Right?
throughout the past 100 episodes.
We've come so far, but our gas mileage sucks.
I'm more of an acquaintance.
That's true.
Yeah, you can disavow. So, John, can you do me a favor and let these people know where they can find us and what they can do about it?
Yes, you can find us on Twitter at the GenGapP. You can find our Discord server down below. Link is there. It's a lot of fun. Cool people, cool memes, all that nonsense. And then you can find us on Freedom Scoop. As we said before, just like you can find Ed over there, you can find Britt and her co-host over there as well. You can find RRC over there. You can find Wyatt from Roundtable Decision. And who didn't I say? Stephen Ignoramus. You can find him over there as well. And you can buy our merch over there too. But I think we're gonna push the GoFundMe before we start pushing shirts. So
Selfish
you
bastard.
can buy all that stuff. Yeah. Sorry, a little selfish at the moment when it comes to that. But
God, everybody
yeah.
wants a place to live. God,
I know, right?
right?
I know, right? Jeez.
Shelter is a human right. Please give me a home. All right,
Yeah.
so
I would not want to live in government housing either. So.
yeah, I hear the cheese is shit.
Yeah, I hear the walls are too.
Careful, that cheese will back you up.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't knock Velveeta. I'm just saying. All right, we're gonna be back again on Wednesday for another rousing episode of Shooting the Shit. We'll probably have maybe we'll do some follow up on the old debate that's going on. I believe on the 29th of next week, Tuesday, I believe it is. I know, right? I mean, it's the peer pressure. It does it to you. But we'll also then, of course, be back again next Friday for another episode, our normal episode that could turn out to be just as fun as this. But I don't know. I doubt it. Don't bother. Don't show up. Just stop by, hit the like button, tell people you saw it, and you experienced it, whatever. But we'll be back. So Wednesday night will be 9:30. Friday night will be 8:30. That's Eastern Central Time. Eastern Central Time. Eastern Time,
Wow.
the only true time zone.
God damn
Good
it,
God,
man.
my Brit got my tang tungled. I was doing the same thing, but don't tell anybody. That's why I keep this here.
Right.
Nobody knows till I
Oh,
talk.
that's to talk about it? My bad.
Oh, don't make me release that picture again.
Right? The
Oh,
picture.
yeah.
He's so lucky.
All right, lots of love to everybody. We're gonna get.
Yeah. He was talking to Robert. Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a picture of me. Oh, that picture.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what?
yeah, the one from
You got to get a
yesterday.
better grab. I mean, you can't really make out what it says, so it just, I just look special. It's really what it is. I just look special.
What do you think I was planning?
Well, it's okay if I look special. I mean, special ed, right?
Still a tiara on top of a derby.
Hey,
that's
you know
true.
what? We've all got our things, okay? Enjoy your headboard camera. I mean, it's, All right, we're going to get the hell out of here. Thanks, everyone, for a great show tonight, and we will catch you on the next time around. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Ed, I can't help it, but, if you want to take us out with your standard outtake, I'll much appreciate it.
Never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Take care.
Peace out, folks.
See you guys.
Bye.
The war will begin.